Hi, welcome to another episode of Bethany Talks About Stuff. I'm your host, Bethany F. DeVores, author of the Sea Dressing Chronicles, available from Amazon. And let me just start off by saying this is absolutely positively, totally my 100% real hair and not a cheap wig. So, in this episode, I want to talk about Ubisoft or Ubisoft uh, and Assassin's Creed Shadows and the case study that we're seeing unfold before our very eyes. So, last time I talked about this video game, I was reviewing or reacting to the trailers, and I said there was a lot of controversy and that I was still planning to play the game and give a review and see how it went. And that I was kind of torn about the controversy. I wasn't sure how deep it went or how much I cared, to be honest, because sometimes controversy is just controversy for its sake. But I have changed my mind. Now, I'm not 100% saying I'm not going to play Assassin's Creed Shadows just for the sake of reviewing it. But I'm not 100% sure I am either. A lot has happened in the last few weeks. I had actually recorded this video last week and I had some issues with the video and ended up looking at it and saying, oh, I'm going to have to record this again. And it has taken me a few days to be able to sit down and record it. And in the meantime, all this stuff has come out.
Well, I am stunned.
I got a lot more to say. Now, I'm going to try to be succinct and I am going to give this forewarning or disclaimer that some of what I'm going to share with you is hearsay, but I think it seems like it's pretty reliable sources to me. I will link some of the YouTube videos that I have watched to get some of this information, but you can do a quick Google search and you're going to find a lot of what I'm saying. I'm just going to kind of put everything together for you in a quick video here. You're welcome. Here's what we're looking at. I'm going to back up and give a little bit of history about Ubisoft. I'm going to say Ubisoft, and I don't know. And it's a French-based company, founded by five brothers, I think, back in the 80s. So because it's French, I don't know if they say Ubisoft, which I guess, or Ubisoft, whatever. It doesn't matter. You guys know who I'm talking about. They had a lot of really good games, a lot of good series. They did the Far Cry series. They had Tom Clancy games. They had Assassin's Creed, obviously, and they did really, really well. And for a long time, like Assassin's Creed, when it first came out, was very innovative. It was really different. People were really excited about it. And then we had the Ezio trilogy, which was amazing. And most of the games, earlier games, I would say were excellent. Even Assassin's Creed 3, 4, Black Flag. I mean, hello, who doesn't want to play as a pirate? It was awesome. It feels like the series has lost its way. And there are a lot of things about the series that I still really like, and a lot of things I don't like. Now, bear in mind, when I first started playing the series, I actually started with Valhalla, which is the next to last installment. And I loved it. I thought it was a great game. I didn't realize how different from the previous games that one was. And having now gone back and played a lot of these older games, I am just sad to see this company and this franchise going the way it's going because it was really good. And so this makes me sad. So everything I'm getting ready to tell you makes me very sad.
Emotional damage.
The last few installments of Assassin's Creed have been more open world RPGs, except for Mirage. Feels like Assassin's Creed Mirage tried so hard to be non-problematic that it became boring. Because let's be honest, good stories they're not always comfortable. They can still be a lot of fun. They can still be very entertaining, but they're not always going to be comfortable, particularly for today's environment. I was going to say today's audience, but I'm going to get to that. This is something we see in Hollywood. I've talked about it before. I don't know who they're making these games or movies for anymore, or TV shows. Who are themselves, I guess, because they ain't making it for us. They came out and said, okay, our next Assassin's Creed is going to be in feudal Japan. And Assassin's Creed fans lost their minds in a good way because for years and years and years, they've been asking for an Assassin's Creed set in Japan, which makes complete sense. Assassin's Creed's all about the stealth, the assassinations, the gameplay It's just catered to like feudal Japan shinobi warrior. There have been rumors about it for a long time and people were really excited. And then they started to actually release promotional art and videos, and the main character was a black samurai. Now, most people that I know, myself included, don't care that much that the character is black. It's just that it's feudal Japan, so it didn't really make sense for the setting. Also, everybody said, "Oh, well, it's a real person, it's a real person." It was a real person, but there's a lot of dispute as to whether or not this character or this person in history was genuinely a samurai. So a lot of liberties have been taken, but at the same time, Ubisoft is saying, we really like to be historically accurate. And we really want to draw from the history. Well, that has become a problem. That main character seems like it might be the least of their worries. Like, Japanese people are big mad. They're big mad. Some of the architecture and art is actually Chinese. Uh, Things are out of place. The seasons don't make sense. The one of the complaints has been that the vegetation isn't right. Even the way they write isn't correct. Like, there's so much stuff. I mean, I get it. I get it. They don't want to be mixed up with China. China doesn't want to be mixed up with Japanese. Just as cultures, they're different, and they want to be treated that way. And I get that. I don't blame them for being mad. And they are big mad. And even on my video, I had a pretty in-depth comment actually from somebody who left me a comment in Japanese. But they were like, "Hey, we're not mad that it's a black samurai. What we're mad about is that it's not historically accurate." And then it's come out that not only did they, you know, appropriate all these different cultures or like, stuff from Chinese culture as well as Japanese and mix them all up, they also like used flags that had designs from a modern day reenactment group without permission and without any credit. So they've had to apologize for that. These are big things. If you're going to say that our game is going to be pretty accurate.
We approached it in the same way that so much of the work is done in Assassin's Creed, which is really in terms of research and history first.
We want you to experience Japan through this guy's eyes. He's new to Japan. He's not from Japan. So he's learning Japan, just like you, the player, are learning Japan, except they're not properly reflecting Japan. And so people have been very upset. And then there is the thing that, it is a black samurai set in feudal Japan. I mean, that is weird, right? In my opinion, it's a little disrespectful to the Japanese culture in general, just because it's as if they're saying Japanese samurais are not interesting enough. So we had to pick somebody unusual, which I've talked about it before, and I'll say it again. It's a huge mistake to use a genuine historical figure as one of your protagonists. It is a huge mistake. Artistically speaking, it's not a great idea. Now, can it be done properly? Sure, it can under the right circumstances and with the right team. Okay, maybe. This ain't it. And it does not seem like it's been handled very well. So I think they've made a huge mistake in that sense. Let's also look at Star Wars Outlaws. So Star Wars Outlaws, everybody was very excited about Star Wars. Star Wars, how can you go wrong with Star Wars? Well, Ubisoft proved how you could go wrong with Star Wars. From what I understand, because I haven't played it, it's super boring. And then the main character, they spent a lot of time making her not as pretty, because heaven forbid we have a pretty character, because people can't relate to a good-looking character. They tried to make her as ethnically ambiguous as possible. So she's not white necessarily, but she's not of a specific ethnic background either. So they were trying so hard to make her specifically inclusive to everybody that she became not likable. Like, you do better just pick somebody and go with it, even if it's not a white person, that's fine. Who cares? If it works, you got to tell a good story and your character has to be likable. And frankly, I do think there is a argument to be made that we don't need to over sexualize women in games, but I don't think you need to make them uggos either. Okay. I'm just saying. I think women in particular can appreciate other attractive women for being attractive. I don't ever look at a video game and just go, "Oh, she's so pretty. I can't even stand it." Usually I'm like, "Hey, I'm cool getting to play this very beautiful woman." It's fantasy, you guys. Like, to me, it does not bother me to have the characters be very attractive. Now, on a personal note, you guys know that I love my heroes in my video games. I tend to form unhealthy relationships with characters like Ezio and Alexios or Arthur Morgan in Red Dead 2. I mean, I love my video game men. So I'm like, please stop. Please stop trying to make them ugly. Okay. It's just a weird push in video games right now. They did that with Star Wars Outlaws and it's bombing. Now, is it bombing just because the main character is not pretty? No. But you aren't allowed to do a variety of things that people expected to do. If you're going to be an outlaw, you should be able to break laws, right? From my understanding, you can't. And I'm like, then how are you an outlaw? Like even in Red Dead 2, one of the things I think actually works is even if you consider yourself to be a very upstanding citizen in real life, it's kind of fun to break the rules in a game. Like, I can't tell you how many people I fed to alligators or drowned in the river or whatever because they tried to steal my horse. I've said this about the first one too. Don't steal my horse. We're going to have problems. It is bombing. It is not doing well. And because that's not doing well, that puts even more pressure on Assassin's Creed Shadows to perform. And the pre-orders have not been good. Those sales have not been good. They've had to push back the release to February of 2025. It was supposed to come out in November of 2024. They're no longer releasing preview preview copies to media. It's not good. Ubisoft's stocks have tanked. They're at a 10-year low. They're not doing well. And y'all, this might actually break them. I didn't think so at first. One of the other people I watched was like, "Oh, I just assumed Ubisoft is just too big to fail. It's a AAA game coming and whatever, no matter what, it's going to work because if it's a good game, it's just a good game and people are going to play it regardless." But they said that they're starting to realize that may not be the case. And I would have to agree. This may break them. I don't know. I don't know how solid Ubisoft's future actually is at this point. They're so focused on not being problematic that they're just ruining the stories and ruining the games. And then they act like they're surprised that gamers don't want this nonsense. No, we don't. We don't want it. We don't want this nonsense. We just want a good game that we can play and enjoy. Now, it's also coming out that Ubisoft hired a consultant firm called Sweet Baby Inc. They are a consultant firm that goes around to different entertainment companies like video game developers, and they teach them how to be more diverse, equitable, and inclusive, DEI. And they are basically ruining everything they touch because they're so focused on that. They've forgotten that you have to also have a good quality game. And you need good quality developers. You need that people need to feel free to be creative. And what's coming out through insiders anonymously talking. So, of course, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but they're coming out and saying they have not been allowed to be creative, that people are so afraid of being pulled into HR that they are no longer communicating. They feel like they're not being heard. Let's focus on quality and stop pushing an agenda. I would be just as annoyed with a right-wing agenda as I am with the left-wing agenda, because we should be focusing on a compelling story and an entertaining game. I'm just saying. I have been listening to some people complain that women are ruining games. And I just want to say, please don't lump me in with women who are goofy like that. Okay. Most of the women gamers I know, just same as male gamers. We want a compelling and fun game. We want the gameplay to be fun. We want the story to be compelling. We want the characters to be engaging. I want to like my character, even if they do stupid stuff. Arthur Morgan is one of my all-time favorite video game characters, and he's incredibly flawed. And it is one of the reasons I actually like him, right? I can relate to him without him looking like me. I don't The human experience is a human experience. So if we humanize people in the games, that's going to be enough. They don't need to look like me. In fact, I've said it before, I will say it again. I don't want to play me in a video game, except for maybe in The Sims. I do kind of make my Sims look like me. But typically, I do not worry about a video game character looking like me. I care about, are they interesting? Another example of that would be in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I much preferred playing Alexios to Cassandra, and not just because he was very attractive and nice to look at, but because it made more sense for that character to be a man. It just it just did. He was a Spartan warrior, and that would be more historically accurate. And then you could tell, this is a good example, that they changed Alexios from being the canon character to Cassandra. Why? And then in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there is a cameo of Cassandra, and I'm like, that cameo should have been Alexios. That did not make sense to me. It did not make sense. So the same insiders that are talking about the culture at Ubisoft being difficult to work in have come out and said initially the character was a Japanese man. I also want to point out that Ubisoft is making a lot of mistakes, as is par for the course. They're blaming the fans. Oh, toxic fandom. The fans are just terrible people. That's why they're mad. But some of the stuff they've done with the Japanese culture in this game is gross. And the Japanese people are so mad. They are big mad. And even the Japanese government got involved and were potentially going to look into an inquiry into how inaccurate this game was and how disrespectful they found that. There's also been another big misstep by Ubisoft with their Ubisoft Infinity thing that's coming up. I don't even know what to call it. Platform in which all of the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed games will be funneled through this Assassin's Creed Infinity gateway. And the the somebody from some higher up at Ubisoft made the really stupid comment that players ought to get used to not owning their own games. That everything should go through a portal. Basically, the idea is that everything should go through a portal and they can completely control it, which would mean you could pay for a game and then they could decide, oh, we don't like you playing that game anymore. And they just pull it. And oh, well. The maddest I got in recent years was when Xbox's network went down and games that I have purchased and either downloaded or bought the actual physical disc would not work because I was not connected to the Xbox network. Why should I have to be connected to the Xbox network to play my own game? I was furious. Well, that's what they want to do. They want to put everything out there like that. That's a big push within the gaming industry, is to move towards this kind of platform. And I'm telling you, if you're a gamer, you need to be really mad about that. I'm sorry. If I buy a game, it's mine. And I am buying less and less digital media for that very reason. And Ubisoft is saying, get used to it. We control everything. Just ridiculous. And y'all, you need to watch this. You need to watch this because these streaming platforms, you purchase one of their movies and they decide, oh, we don't like that movie anymore. It's got a message in it that we don't like, or now it's got a problematic person in it we don't like, and we're just not going to show that video anymore. And even though you've paid for it, you no longer have access to it. And we're not giving your money back. I'm just saying. We need to be wary of that. We need to be pushing back against that. If I've purchased a movie digitally, I don't care if you find it problematic or not. I want that movie and I paid my money for it. It should be mine to watch as I please. I don't need somebody like Amazon policing that for me.
Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
I'm also buying fewer and fewer ebooks. Now, do I have some? Am I still buying some? I am. But if I like it a lot, I will sometimes buy the ebook and the hard copy. So just in case something happens, I still have a copy. Plus, sometimes it's just nice to feel the book in your hand, and the pages and smell the book. It's nice. I am a bookworm. I do like that. Ubisoft is, like, if it's an area that they can be struggling in, they are. And I don't know. If the pre-orders were not good, they've had to pull it and say we're going to delay release. I don't know. I think there's enough controversy around this. They're going to have a problem. And the rumor is that they're pulling the game so they can take that character out and put in a Japanese man. I don't think they're going to do that, y'all. In a way, I just don't think they can. It's too late. From October to February, they would have to completely redo their game. Unless they switch back to what they had previously been doing. But they switched to this samurai in 2020. So that's 4 years worth of programming and development. I don't know if they can go back to what they had before, even though that was years worth of development as well. Plus, the optics of that, also bad. They cannot win here. They made a mistake by doing it this way. And now I don't think they can backtrack it. So that's where we stand with Ubisoft.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
I know I'm missing things that have been discussed in other videos or that are coming out. But this gives you kind of a quick overview of where we stand. This makes me very sad. Take from all that what you want. Like I said, I'm sure I've missed things. But it's hard to keep up at this point because so much is coming out so fast. So this is where we are as of recording this video. I hope this gives you kind of an overview of what's going on. If you haven't been able to keep up with all the different videos, maybe this has captured most of it for you. If you have more information, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments. And also just if you disagree with me, if you think that I'm being goofy about this, maybe I'm taking it too seriously, or maybe I'm not taking it seriously enough, please let me know in the comments. Not only is the engagement good for the algorithm, but I just like to hear from you guys so that I know what you think. When you engage with me in the comments, it helps me to grow and do better. So please leave me a comment. Let me know if this format is something that you like, or would you prefer me go back to the more lighthearted videos that are reviews or just interviews. Those are still coming. I'm still going to be doing those, but I just feel like this is something in real life. I talk about this stuff a lot. So that's kind of the point of the show.
I just have a lot of feelings.
You guys, if you like the video, please like, share, subscribe, all the things you're supposed to do on the internet. That's it for now.